Hi everybody. Great. Now you know if it looks like you can borrow enough money to buy the place. Later on, when you negotiate price, you'll likely also negotiate seller credits. Seller credits are money the seller contributes towards paying your closing cost. Seller credits essentially lower the cost to you of buying the place. In a normal sale, you'll negotiate the sales price along with the seller credits, if any. You can lower the cost of buying the house by negotiating a lower price, of course, but you can also lower the cost of buying the house by increasing the amount of seller credits. A lot of buyers want seller credits. They want to spend as little of their cash as possible on closing costs, so instead they can spend that money on fixing up the house or buying furniture or whatever. Conserving cash. Some buyers are very comfortable paying a higher price for a house if the higher price is offset by an increase in the seller credit amount. It's all part of the contract negotiations. You may have to have your landlord contribute money towards your closing costs. You don't have enough money in your savings account to pay your down payment and your closing costs and your prepays. That means you're a borderline buyer and you need the seller to pay some of your closing costs because you don't have enough cash and savings to pay all of your own closing costs. If you're cash poor, seller credits can make a deal work that wouldn't be possible otherwise. But if you have to have a seller contribution to do a sale, it might be a sign that you aren't really financially ready to buy a home yet. You might be stretching yourself too thin. If that's your case, maybe you should wait until you have more cash saved up before you buy this or any other house. On the other hand, if cash is a problem to you, your loan officer should be able to tell you if you would qualify for any local first-time home buyer down payment assistance programs. Some of these programs are sponsored by states and counties and are essentially free money for first-time home buyers. But some aren't. They can really help first-time home buyers who make enough money to cover their monthly payments, but who haven't saved enough cash yet to cover all of their down payment and closing costs. Another thing, whether you're cash poor or cash rich, ask your loan officer what the maximum amount is that the seller can contribute towards your closing costs. Some places like California call this the lender allowable credits. Many loans have a maximum amount they'll allow the seller to contribute to the buyer. It usually depends on the size of your down payment. Lenders want buyers to have some minimum amount of skin in the game, but every loan program is different. You don't want to find out right before closing, for example, that the loan only allows the seller to contribute 2% towards your closing costs, but you had negotiated 3% in the contract. That would be a very unhappy surprise. In that case, your lender would only allow you to take 2% and you would lose that 1%. If you had known the maximum seller contribution earlier, then in this example, maybe you could have negotiated to have the seller contribute 2% towards your closing costs and a 1% reduction in the sales price. If you're cash poor, find out from your loan officer if you have to have a seller credit to make a deal work, and if so, how much. And whether you're cash poor or cash rich, don't negotiate a seller credit that is larger than the maximum your particular loan program allows.